reflection of light. So if you'll observe in our daily life, first listen, whenever I will say you to write or note down, you note down. Remaining all the thing, try to directly dump in our brain, understanding, store it, that's all. So if you'll observe, as we know that light is a form of energy which we are already studying from lower standard. Every year they will say light is a form of energy, and this light is only needed to see the things around us. So whatever the things are present in our surroundings, we are able to see because of this light. We are able to see this beautiful world around us only because of light. So if there is no light, then we cannot feel, we cannot see the beauty of this world. We can read a book, we can see a pictures in magazine, we can watch a television, we can watch movies in theater, everything we can do, whatever the activity you can do. You can walk happy, you can ride a bike, you can fly in aeroplane, you can drive a car, everything is just existence of, because of what? Due to the existence of light. If there is no kind of existence of light, if there is no kind of, what will happen? No light, what will happen?
Dark.
No light, nothing will happen. So because of existence of light only, we are doing this all the things. Light, so whatever the activities I told you now, every activity, it is happening because of light. So that is why I can say it is light which makes us see our image even in a looking mirror. If you'll observe, if you'll stand in front of a mirror, till now you have seen the world with your eyes, the beauty of the world with your eyes. Now, if you'll stand in front of the mirror, you can able to see yourself. You can able to see yourself while you are looking mirror. So means in the sense of what? We detect light with our eyes, and they are only allow us to see our image in the given mirror. Or else the activities, every activity which we are doing, everything is just because of one thing. That is what? That is our
Light.
eyes are detect light. So we detect the light. We detect the light with our eyes. We detect the light with our eyes. Also. So now, if you'll observe, those we see the various objects around us with our eyes, but eyes alone cannot see any object. You alone, you remove. Even though your eyes is not working, then eyes alone cannot see the objects, the things which you are seeing. Understanding? Only we also need a source of light to make objects visible. If object is there, you cannot see with your eyes directly. Only the eyes alone we cannot see the objects. Also, some source of light is required to make that objects visible. Understand? So for example, if we'll take, our eyes can work. Suppose let me take now Dilipan only. Understanding? Nowadays Dilipan is very active. Let us discuss example of Dilipan. Dilipan now is in two situations. Let me imagine this is not a mirror. This is a dark room, and this is another room. Understanding? And this is another room called as, understand? It is having a proper light. This is dark room, and it is a lighted room. Lighted room. Now, in which room he can able to see? In which room he can able to see the objects in your surroundings? In which room?
Light.
The room which have light.
This is all we should know it. Somebody will ask reflection of light. We should be able to say that something briefly, that is why. Like that I am saying. So remember, suppose now Dilipan is in dark room. So he cannot see any object in dark room. Or a darkness of night also you observe. Not only in dark room, night time also, if there is no source of light, then we cannot able to see anything, understanding in our surroundings. So means in the sense of what? During in a dark room or in the night, to make objects visible, there is no light is present to make the objects to visible. But as soon as, suppose if you on the switch, suppose you entered into your bedroom, if there is no light, you cannot even notice where is the cot, where is the bed, where is the even switchboard also. So once if you on the bulb, tube light or torch or anything, switch it on, and that light falls on that objects, whatever the objects are present in our bedroom, then immediately we are able to see them very clearly. Means in the sense of, is it only our eyes are working under the light, or else is it our eyes are not working in the dark room? Then if our eyes are working, if our eyes are detecting the light, why can't we see the objects in the dark room? Why we are able to see only when it is in daytime or
Sir,
light?
in dark room there is no light presence,
because
which
no source of
cannot
light to
able to
reflect the
reflection.
light.
That
Reflection
should
will
be
not
the
be
thing. That is the question rises from this. Everybody should remember that is the question rises from here, from this paragraph. What is the conditions required to see the objects? Two conditions should be required to see the objects. Arya, understand Arya? Kevin? So one should be what? Our eyes should work. Suppose you may see that. Blind fellows, for example. Even though it is a lighted room or even though daytime, they cannot detect the objects. They cannot see the objects. Why? They cannot see anything in their beauty of this world. Any object, and they cannot even feel. Just they will feel by touch. They cannot see by visually. They cannot enjoy the locations. Why? Because even though source of light is there, why can't they cannot see? Because eyes are not
There
working.
is no eyes to detect the light.
Eyes are not working. So these are the two conditions required to see the objects in our surroundings. First one should be our eyes should detect the light, as well as a source of light should be there, understanding, to see the objects. So this source of light may be, understanding, a source may be a light should be emitted from the object, as well as maybe the object may reflect the light which is coming from the source. That is your. So only these two conditions will be applicable, then only we can able to see the objects. So we are able to see them very clearly if light should be there, as well as our eyes should be detect that light. That's all. Now, it is only when light coming from an object enters to our eyes that we are able to see that object. If the light is not coming from the object, then which is not entering into our eyes, we cannot able to see the objects. So this light which is coming from the object, it may be emitted by the object itself, means a luminous objects, which a few objects can emit their own light.
Objects which emit their own light.
Light may have been emitted by the object itself, or it may have been reflected by the object. It may be emitted. This is the most important thing. So the light which is coming from the object, it may be emitted by the object, or maybe it may be reflected by the object. Reflected by the object. Suppose if we take in our bedroom, what is the source of emitted of light? Emitting light. If we take bulb, understanding?
Bulb,
Light.
lamp.
Torch, your mobile phone, everything. They are the source of light. So we can able to see the phone, we can able to see the bulb, we can able to see the tube light and all, because they are the emitters. Understanding? They can emit their emit light itself, so that we are able to see them. As well as you see your bedroom, you are able to see the cot, understanding, pillow, bed sheet, understanding, cardboard or shelf, everything you are able to see, walls, roof, fan, everything. Because why? The light which is coming from this, understanding, bulb or electric bulb or anything which is reflected by these objects, that is why we are able to see them. So that is the reason the light may have been emitted by the object itself, or it may have been reflected by the object. These are two things should happen. Understand, all of you?
Yes, sir.
That is. So this is all about
Yes,
the reflection of. Now, if you'll observe, whatever the light is coming from the object, maybe a emitted or maybe a reflected. So this light only enables means which will make us to see
Makes us.
objects from understanding which it is comes or from which it is reflected. That you remember. So light is only enables us to see the objects from which it may be comes means emitted or which it may be reflected. That is only called as understanding reflection
Yes,
of
sir.
light. So for example, let me take, as we know that the natural sources of light, the biggest source of light is sun. So the sun gives out light energy. Understand? Now we can see the sun because the light coming from the sun is enters to our eyes, so that only I am able to see the sun. If that light is not enters, then I cannot able to see the sun. You may ask me, sir, then we cannot able to see the sun directly. Why, sir? Because the intensity, the power of light is too much. Understand? It is very, very high of the sun. Sunlight is too much of highly intensity, so that we cannot able to see directly because our eyes cannot resist. But we can able to see the sun during early sunrise and late sunset. Is it yes or no? Only at noon time we
Yes,
cannot
sir.
able to focus the sun with the naked eyes directly because during the noon time the intensity of the light is too much, so it may damage our eyes if you look into the sun. Is it yes or no? If you try to see the sun, it
Yes,
will
sir.
damage our eyes. Correct, Amma? Prasini?
Yes, sir.
That
yes,
is.
sir.
So we can see the sun because only the light coming from the sun is enter into our eyes. If light is, even though it is produced or reflected, if it is not entering into our eyes, now suppose I closed my eyes, now light is coming from my bulb, but it is trying to enter into my eyes, but I am not able to see you all people. Understand it? Because that light is not entering into my eyes. Now you see, I am able to see you all fellows names and all. Understanding first Alni, last Prasan is there. How I am able to see their names? Because the light which is coming, understanding, is entering into our eyes, my eyes. That is why I am able to see you all. So that is always, these two conditions should be satisfied to see the objects. So now, here I am saying that this source of light may be emitted or may be reflected by the object. So based upon the emission, means emission of light or reflection of light, we people will be classified these objects into two kinds of objects. So that is already you people know that. For example, if we'll take the objects like sun, stars, electric bulb, understanding, tube light, torch, candle,
Which produce
and
light
fire,
on their
Luminous
own.
objects, sir.
which emit their
Luminous.
own light,
Luminous
which emit
object.
their own light,
Non-light.
they are called
Luminous object.
luminous.
Luminous. Non-luminous.
Or no, luminous objects. Yes, full stop. So as we can see the luminous objects, why? Why we can able to see the luminous objects? Because due to the light emitted by them. Yes or no? So we are able to see the
Yes,
luminous
sir.
objects. We are able to see the luminous objects because the only one result, that is understanding light emitted by them. So light, they are the source of light. Light is emitted by them. That's all. Emitted by them. That is the reason why we are able to see these all the objects. So these objects is only called as what? Luminous objects. So now you see, though the luminous
Yes, sir.
objects are very, very small in number, understand? Very, very small in number, but they help us to see a large variety of non-luminous objects around us. Actually, if you observe in nature, the luminous objects means the source of light is a very, very less number of objects, but the light which is coming from them, which is allow us to see the a huge number of, which is help us to see a large variety of non-luminous objects around us. Is it true or not? Yes or
Yes,
no?
sir.
So you see, luminous
Yes.
objects you may count in fingers. Luminous objects hardly you may count in fingers. But non-luminous objects, if you'll observe, understand, we cannot even count it. It will be like a thousands, millions of non-luminous objects. Is it yes or no?
Yes, sir.
Yes, that is the difference. So even though the source, the number, the count of luminous objects is smaller, but they are making us to see a huge number of objects, non-luminous objects in our surroundings. So for example, if we take non-luminous objects, basically it starts with the girls. Girls usually like flowers, so starts with a flower. So objects like flower you take, or else the chair which you are using to sit now, the chair, or a table which you are using to use keep your laptop or notebook, they do not have light of their own, but even then we are able to see them. Because why we are able to see them?
Sir, phone.
Yeah,
Phone,
those
phone
objects
is a
like
luminous
a
object,
flower,
sir.
a chair, or a table, understanding, or a walls, or a door, everything, understanding. So what is happening? They do not emit light
Sir,
themselves.
phone is a luminous object, no, sir.
Yes. What am I?
Sir, laptop has
Phone
its
is,
own light, sir.
phone is a luminous object, no, sir.
Phone, I am not saying phone, your notebook, the table which you are using. Phone is a luminous object. Who said not? I'm saying your chair.
Sir,
which
the
you are sitting.
laptop is also a luminous object, no?
Yeah, laptop also luminous objects. Because of that only I'm able to see. But see now difference you see. My now you are able to see me. Is it yes or no? My board is also. Can you able to see me? Padmashri, good morning.
Yes, sir.
You are 30 minutes
Yes,
late.
sir.
No discipline. Okay. Now you're able to see my board. Now you see what will happen. Can you observe the change? Now also you can able to see me. Now also you can able to see me. Is it yes or no? Just
Yes,
Yes,
sir.
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 Yes.
Because of
But-
laptop.
But it's not that much clear. Is it yes or no? You are able to see my
Yes, sir. It is in dark.
board. Able to see my board. You are able to see me.
Yes.
Even though the laptop is a understanding source of light, but still you see it is depends on my another external source of light. Then only you people can able to see me clearly. Is it yes or no? That is the difference.
Yes, sir.
Yes,
Because
sir.
when there is
Sir.
no light, what is happening, sir? Why I am able to see the darkness? So the light which is emitting by this laptop is not sufficient. Understand? It's not sufficient light to make me to see you very clearly. It is very less amount of light is entering into my eyes, so that only it is not that much clear. Almost you are observing like a black. Is it yes or no? You are not able to see me clearly.
Yes, sir.
Now, if I on my external light source, you people are seeing very clearly because now huge amount of light is falling on this laptop, and each part of laptop, like in the sense of this, all the black regions of this laptop is trying to reflect the light, and that light is entering into my eyes. So that only you people are able to see me clearly now, including the board. Yes or no? Good morning, Pranita.
Yes, sir.
30 minutes late, 33 minutes you are late, delay. Conversion also, no response. Let it be. This is not sincerity, always should be sincere. You have to be. We have to change. If change should come, unless until the change is not coming from you, within you, I cannot push you. Remember that. That is only. So with the change within you, I will show you the difference. Without that, I cannot. Okay, let it be no issues. First day, so that 30 minutes is accepted, but still so many need to wake up, correct? Let it. So now if you observe here, so that they do not emit the light themselves, but we can see them by light which they reflect. Understand? So this reflect only, remember the word, if I will use the reflect, or else few times I will use a word called as scatter. Both are same. Scatter or reflect. Understand? Scatter.
Scatter.
Both the meaning is same. So you should remember. Does not mean that both are different meaning. Understand? Both have same meaning. So they understand the light which they reflect or scatter by taking it from a luminous object like the sun or electric bulb, etc. So when the sunlight or bulb light falls on a flower, so let me imagine my hand, you can able to see me. So the light which is coming from my laptop or my source of bulb, which will falls on my hand, understand? Then only, understand? So some of the light is reflected towards to you back again, so that only you people are able to see my hand. Is it yes or no?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Yes, sir.
So then only the light which is reflecting, when this reflected light entering into you people, your eyes, then you are able to see the understanding my chair or the flower in our garden or chair in our garden everywhere. Because why? Because to our eyes, this light appears to be coming from the flower or chair. You are able to see my hand. You people are feeling that. Is it the light is coming from my hand or from the bulb? Now you are seeing my hand itself. So means in a sense of your eyes, a light is coming from my hand or from the bulb. How you will feel? Our eyes will feel the light is coming from the
From the hand.
hand. But actually it is what? Reflection of light. It's not
Reflected.
emitted. Correct or not?
Reflected light.
Reflection of light. That is. So that is all. So from this we can make. So the objects, the second category of objects are non-luminous objects. What we should say? Non-luminous
Non-luminous objects.
objects.
The
Non-luminous
objects which do not emit light on their own are called non-luminous.
Those objects, the sentence formation should be like a very, very, very beautiful way you should write. Now you are not, people are kids, like lower classes, ninth also accepted. But 10th, the sentence formation should be a proper way. We have to make it very beautiful. So let us come to here. Arya, please mute yourself. Now if you observe, those objects, Dilip and Arya, understand? Those objects
Yes, sir.
which do not emit light, remember, those objects which do not emit
which do not emit light.
On
themselves,
their own.
they do not emit the light themselves, but what they can do? But they only do
They can reflect the light.
They can reflect the light, sir.
So they
Reflect
can
the light.
reflect or
They
they
can
can scatter. They can
Scatter.
only reflect
Scatter the light.
or scatter the light. What light? Which will falls on them or which is not fall on them?
Falls on
Sir,
them.
which
Which falls on them.
Not falling,
Falls on
they
them.
cannot reflect. Without the, if light is not falling, how they can reflect? They cannot correct. So they can reflect or scatter, which the light falls on them.
Falls on them.
Are called as, what would you call?
Non-luminous.
Non-luminous object.
Non-luminous objects.
As objects. Understand? Which falls on them is only called as non-luminous objects. Non-luminous objects. So now, examples you will take, we can write hundreds of non-luminous objects. You can take a flower,
Opaque objects, sir.
table, book, trees, any other plants, human beings, fan, bed, mirror. If you take diamond, understanding, if you take gold, walls,
Gold,
road, every
Opaque objects, sir.
vehicles, all these are
moon, sir.
non-luminous objects. Non-luminous objects.
Moon, sir.
So that is
Sir,
why.
moon also a non-luminous.
Yeah,
object.
moon is
Moon
also
also non-luminous.
objects. All the satellites are non-luminous objects. Everything is non-luminous objects. So that is why we people can say this full of world is filled with understanding. Most
Non-luminous
objects,
objects.
understanding in our surroundings, the surroundings are non-luminous objects. Non-luminous objects. That is why. See, source of light, the objects which can produce the light are very less in count, but non-luminous objects are very huge in number. That is why the most of the objects in our surroundings are non-luminous objects. But we are all able to see these non-luminous objects even though they are in like an unlimited number, infinity number. But why? Because only the light emitted by a limited sources of light. Is it yes or no?
Yes,
or
sir.
no? Yes. So we can see these non-luminous objects only because reflect light are received from a luminous objects into our eyes. The light which is received from the luminous objects will fall on them and they will reflect the light or they will scatter the light. That light is only entering to our eyes, so that only we are able to see the objects. So suppose you will take a moon. Even the moon is a non-luminous object because it does not have its own light, only it is a reflection of sun. But we can see
Sun.
the moon because it reflects the sunlight falling on its surface towards to us. Towards to us in the sense of what? Towards to the earth. If you imagine towards to the earth, it will reflect the light. So means in the sense of earth is not able to see the moon, but we people are living on the surface of the earth, so that only we are able to see the moon. Are you people understand, Ra? So the reflection
Yes, sir.
taking place, reflection of moon is taking place towards to the earth, so that only we people are able to see the moon. That's all. So this is all about the luminous and the non-luminous objects, when we can able to see the objects, when we cannot able to see the objects and all. So if you'll observe, this is all just introduction, Amma. So we can conclude that from this all the discussions of now last 40 minutes, you can see that we can conclude that light is a form of energy which causes in us only one thing, that is what? The sensation of sight. Is it yes or no?
Sight.
Sensation
Yes,
of
sir.
sight. That
Yes,
is
sir.
overall conclusion.
Sight.
Which enables us to see objects.
Yeah, sensation of sight means make us to see the objects. That's all. Understand? So the sensation which will cause in us the sensation of sight, and also remember light travels always in a straight line. So light always travels in a
Straight line.
light
Straight line.
always
Straight line.
always travels in a straight line.
Straight line.
Munjicha, Koyala. Remember,
Yes, sir.
even
Yes,
though a fact that a small source of light casts a sharp shadow of an opaque object, even that is also tells us that light travels in a straight line path. You may observe that. If you'll observe a very, very small source of light, which will make understanding, which will cast means project, which will cast
True.
a sharp shadow of an opaque objects. So that is also we can say that experiment to verify that light will always travels in a understanding straight line, because that if light could bend easily and go behind the opaque object, then there is no shadow could be formed. Have you noticed it while you are walking in during night time or
Yes, sir.
sunlight? Only why the shadow is forming? Because only the shadow is formed by reflection. Understanding? Refraction we will study next. Refraction of light cannot form the shadow because only the opaque objects can form the shadow by reflecting or scattering the light back into the same medium. Understand, Amma? Only which objects will form the shadows?
Yes, sir.
Understand? There is no object. Remember, only
Opaque
opaque object will form the shadow. If no shadow could not be formed,
Yes,
the
sir.
light is not reflected by the opaque objects. So that is only understand. That is why we can say light travels always in a straight line without any bending. If it will bend and will go, cannot able to see the shadow of any kind of opaque object. So that only always we can say light travels in a straight line. Light travels in a
Straight line.
that's all. So till now you must
Straight
write two definitions. One is luminous objects and the next one is non-luminous objects. That's all.
Non-luminous object.
Have you written? Yes or no?
No, sir.
Right.
No,
If
sir.
you want definitions also, I will say. If you don't want, you
No.
can write your own also. Not a
No, sir.
problem.
We will write.
Yeah, I will say. Right.
Yes,
First
yes,
point.
I will write.
All of you write first point. Not only the definitions. First point. I will say the few points you should write about this overall discussion of introduction of light, reflection of light. I will say a few points to write it. First point. Light enables us to see. Light enables us to see objects from which it comes, from which it comes, from which it comes, from which it comes. I think Varshini given response, but why she's not joined? Maybe she slept again, correct? Yes. Light enables us to see objects from which it comes, from which it comes, from which it comes, or from which it is reflected, or from which it is reflected. Bracket you can write scattered, scattered also. Scatter or scattered. Scatter, S-C-A-T-T-E-R, scatter. Purinjichama? Now,
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
right. Light is a form of energy. The second point. Light is a form of energy. Light is a form of energy. It is needed to see things around us. It is needed to see things around us. It is needed to see the things around us. Next point. We detect light with our eyes. We detect light with our eyes. We detect light with our eyes, comma, this light may have been emitted. This light may have been emitted.
Sir, can you please repeat the sentence, sir?
We detect light with our eyes. We detect light with our eyes, comma, this light may have been emitted by the object. This light may have been emitted by the object itself, by the object itself, by the object itself, by the object itself, or it may have been reflected by the object, or it may have been reflected by the object, reflected by the object. You understand?
Yes, sir.
Next. Luminous objects. All of you keep heading. Luminous objects. L-U-M-I-N-O-U-S. L-U-M-I-N-O-U-S. Luminous objects. Ganapati, are you understanding? Arvind Ganapati.
Yes, sir.
Are you clear?
Understood.
Yeah.
Yes, sir. Understood, sir.
Right now. The objects like the sun, the objects like the sun, Pranita, Akshaya, the objects like the sun, comma, other stars, comma, electric bulb, come and all you follow man, 10th class correct, do it. Electric bulb, tube light, torch, candle, and fire, etc. Which emit their own light, are called luminous objects. Are called luminous objects. Next, come down and write non-luminous objects. Non-luminous objects. Those objects which do not emit light, those objects which do not emit light themselves, but only reflect, or scatter the light, only reflect or scatter the light, which falls on them, comma should come there because another sentence is going to include, which falls on them, comma, are called non-luminous objects, Examples, you can write anything: flower, chair, table, book, piece, human beings, fan, bed, anything. Any 2 or 3 you can write and keep etc. That's all. Okay, da?
Okay,
Sir, same from scatter, sir.
Yeah. Scatter the light which falls on them, comma, are called non-luminous objects.